The smell at JFK is always the same. A weird cocktail of burnt Hudson News coffee, industrial floor cleaner, a hint of jet fuel bleeding in from the tarmac, and something that sounds like hope quietly dying. For most people, it's just the airport smell. For me, it's the smell of coming home. I'm Ryan Thompson, 29, senior cybersecurity architect for a firm in Midtown Manhattan that protects the data of half the Fortune 500. My job, in plain English, is building digital fortresses. I raise firewalls, patch holes, and make sure the things that are supposed to stay in the dark stay there forever. I'm good at it. Good enough that people pay me low six figures plus bonus to sleep less than 4 hours a night and fly around the world putting out fires. The last 3 weeks I was in London, auditing systems for a big investment bank in Canary Wharf. 18-hour days, 7 days a week, living on Red Bull and Pret sandwiches. When the plane touched down at JFK at 6 in the morning, I had exactly one thought. Get home, take a scalding shower, sleep 12 hours straight on my own mattress. I tossed my roller bag into the trunk of a black Uber. The driver glanced in the rear view. "Where to, buddy?" "Montclair, New Jersey, Watching Avenue." He nodded, meter on. I sank into the back seat, head against the cold window, watching streetlights smear as we shot up the George Washington Bridge. Early fog hung over the Hudson like a thin sheet of ice. I closed my eyes, pictured my house. The 3-bedroom gray-blue colonial I bought 3 years ago at 26, when I decided I was never sharing walls with anyone again. I put down the down payment, mowed the lawn myself, wired the entire smart home from scratch, fingerprint locks, 4K cameras, NAS server hidden in the climate-controlled basement. My fortress, the one place on Earth I had total control. Or so I thought. The Uber turned into my quiet Montclair street. Old oaks arched over the road, last autumn leaves drifting across the windshield. I almost smiled until the car slowed in front of 87 Watching Avenue. There was a sign staked dead center in my perfectly manicured front lawn. Red, white, blue Century 21 colors, logo screaming for attention, and beneath it, swaying in the cold November breeze, a smaller rider. Sale pending. I blinked. Once. Twice. It didn't vanish. "We here, right?" the driver asked, voice uncertain. I didn't answer right away. Blood rushed in my ears like someone had flipped the world to silent mode. Sale pending. Not for sale. Pending. Meaning contract signed, earnest money in escrow, and my house, my fortress, the only place I ever called home, was on its way to belonging to someone else. I paid through the app, stepped onto the sidewalk with legs that felt borrowed. I walked the gravel path I laid myself last year, suitcase rattling behind me. At the front door, I raised my hand to the fingerprint panel I'd personally recoded 2 months ago. Red light. Access denied. Tried again. Still red. Entered the 6-digit backup. Still red. Someone had gotten inside my system, changed the master code, and locked me out of the house I was still paying the mortgage on. I left the suitcase on the porch, pulled out my phone, dialed the number on the sign. My hand didn't shake. I never shake when I'm angry. My heartbeat slowed, the way it does when my body auto-switches into the crisis response mode I train clients to use every day. "Century 21 Montclair, Sarah Jenkins speaking," came the chipper voice. "Ryan Thompson," I said, voice flat as frozen lake. "I'm standing in front of 87 Watchung Avenue. Explain to me why there's a sale pending sign in the middle of my lawn." 1 second of silence, then a delighted little laugh. "Oh my gosh, Ryan, your mom texted you might be coming in today. Welcome home. Great news. We got over asking, actually a little more. Jersey Market is on fire." I closed my eyes, pinched the bridge of my nose. "Sarah, listen carefully. I did not list the house. I did not sign anything. I've been in London for 3 weeks. The laugh got louder, like I'd told a joke. "Come on, Ryan, your parents explained everything." Such a beautiful gesture. sacrificing equity so your sister can have her dream wedding in Hawaii. I've been in the business forever. Rare to see a family handle it this smoothly. Your power of attorney was completely valid. Closing next Tuesday. Power of attorney. 4 words hit my ears like a malicious packet. I did not sign any power of attorney, I said, each syllable a stone. Your dad said you were too busy, like work schedule incapacitated. Anyway, everything's fine, don't worry. The movers come Monday to box your stuff. Your parents said they'd store it in their garage. I hung up. No goodbye, no yelling, just ended the call. I stood there, looking at my house through the big front window. My single leather chair from Restoration Hardware was gone. In its place, a beige sofa with pastel throw pillows I would rather die than own. They had staged my house. They had broken in, removed my life, and sold it while I slept in a hotel across the Atlantic. A cold gust made the sale pending sign clack like mocking laughter. I stared at it a long time, then at the house one last time. In my line of work, when a system is compromised, the first thing you do is not cry. You scope the damage, you trace the intrusion, and you never, ever let the attacker back in. I picked up the suitcase, walked back to the Uber that hadn't left yet. Change of address, I told the driver, voice machine level. Queens, I need to see my parents right now. The driver looked at me in the mirror, worried. Everything okay, man? I watched my fortress disappear behind the oaks. Not yet, I said, but it will be. And right then, something inside me flipped from sleep mode to combat mode. They had just opened a 0 day in my life. And I'm the guy who patches 0 days. I had the driver drop me half a block from 11342 95th Street, Ozone Park, Queens. I didn't want them hearing the car. I dragged the suitcase over cracked sidewalk, past old Domino's boxes my dad never throws away, still good for something. The smell of fake lavender potpourri hit me from the gate, Mom's QVC obsession since high school. The front door was ajar, yellow light spilling out, laughter and ukulele music leaking into the cold. I didn't knock. I still had the old brass key Dad gave me at 18 with the words, "Come home anytime you want, son." Hilarious. I pushed the door open. The 1978 ranch house looked exactly like childhood, only more cluttered. Amazon boxes lined the hallway, the sunken sofa drowned in throw pillows, 3 flat screens on the wall, none of them logged into Netflix because Dad can't remember the password. Smell of old pizza, half-burned Yankee Candle, and cheap champagne. The living room was ground zero. On the coffee table, 3 huge foam core vision boards plastered with sunset photos of Waikiki, plumeria leis, pig roast luau pits, crystal-beaded wedding gowns, drone shots from above. Centerboard, gold foil letters. Emily and Ethan, a Hawaiian paradise wedding. Underneath, smaller, $98,500 and counting, heart. Mom, Linda, was on her knees hot gluing another orchid photo, wearing a satin floral robe she could never afford on Dad's plumbing pension. Dad, John, was pouring Cook champagne into red Solo cups. Emily sat cross-legged on the carpet, eyes shining, scrolling guest lists on her iPad. Next to her, Ethan Hayes, 27, hair slicked back, linen shirt open 2 buttons, Rolex Submariner flashing, grinning like he was in a Hallmark movie, rich edition. "Cheers to the happiest bride-to-be in the world," Dad toasted, raising his cup. I stepped in at that exact second. "Cheers to the fraud," I said, loud enough to kill the ukulele. The room froze. Dad's cup stopped midair. Mom dropped the glue gun. Hot glue oozed across the carpet. "Ryan," Mom gasped, hand to chest like a soap opera damsel. "You're home? Why didn't you text?" Emily jumped up, started toward me for a hug, then saw my face and stopped. "Rye, perfect timing. I was about to FaceTime you about the wedding." Ethan gave an awkward nod and a rich kid's smile. Dad recovered first, voice dropping into the stern man-of-the-house register he used when I was a kid and we argued about money. "Sit down, son. We were going to tell you tonight. Surprise?" "Surprise, meaning you sold my house to pay for this Pinterest board?" I asked, still standing, suitcase in hand. Mom rushed over, wiping glue off her fingers. "Ryan, honey, don't say it like that. This is for your sister. Emily only gets married once." Emily nodded eagerly. "You agreed, right? Mom said you signed the power of attorney before London. I know you're busy. We didn't want to bother you." I looked my little sister dead in the eye. "I didn't sign anything, Em." Dad set his cup down hard. "Come on, Ryan, don't blow this out of proportion. This was a family executive decision. You're never home. London this week, Chicago next, LA after that. You don't need a 3-bedroom. We sell high, pay off the mortgage, leftover funds, the wedding. Win-win." "What exactly do I win, Dad? A ticket back to my old room full of Ninja Turtles posters?" Mom stepped closer, arms out for a hug. I took one step back. She froze, eyes already tearing up. "You're breaking your mother's heart. We're family." Family helps each other. Ethan finally spoke, soft Upper East Side drawl. "Dude, chill. This is for Emily. She deserves the best day ever." I looked at him. "You paying?" He gave a nervous laugh, glanced at Emily for rescue. Emily bit her lip. "Mom said you'd be happy. You make so much money. And you don't even have a girlfriend. Why do you need such a big house?" That one landed like a punch to the sternum. I looked around. Glittering vision boards, bubbling champagne, hot glue fumes, ukulele still looping. It looked like a bad stage play. I took a slow breath. One last question. Who changed the locks on my house? Dad shrugged. "The stagers needed access. It's temporary." "Temporary," I repeated. "Until Tuesday when it legally belongs to someone else, right?" Mom smiled, the smile of someone about to close the deal. "Exactly, honey." "Then you stay with us a few months, save money, buy something even bigger later. Family first." I looked at them, really looked. No guilt, no fear. They honestly believed I would nod and say, "Sure, anything for baby sister." I turned, rolled the suitcase toward the door. "Ryan," Mom screamed, "don't you dare leave. The notary comes tomorrow. You just have to sign once and it's all perfect." I paused at the threshold, didn't turn around. "Tomorrow," I said, "you're going to need that notary for a lot more than one signature." I closed the door. The ukulele kept playing behind me, but now it sounded like strangers laughing. Mom lunged after me, grabbed my coat sleeve like she could keep me from evaporating. Cheap perfume from 2008 flooded my nose. "Ryan, listen," she whispered, eyes darting back to the living room. "I know you're upset, but this is for all of us." Dad stepped up, put a heavy hand on my shoulder, the same hand that used to convince teenage me to empty my savings for a 52-inch TV. "Listen to your father. This is an executive decision. You make 6 figures. We're struggling. You know that. We're just reallocating family resources. You have too much. Emily needs it. Simple." Reallocating. The word made me want to throw up. "I have too much?" I echoed. "That house I pay $3,400 a month for? Almost $200K of my own money poured into renovations. Taxes I pay, lawn I mow myself. That's not too much. That's everything I have." Mom jumped in, voice climbing. "But you're young. You'll earn it back. Emily only gets married once. You want your sister married at City Hall? Ethan's family is respectable. They expect a proper wedding. We can't let them laugh at us." Dad nodded hard. "Win-win, Ryan." Sell now at peak, clear the mortgage, almost $400,000 left, enough for a gorgeous wedding, The rest we hold for you as a nest egg. You crash here, save up, buy bigger later. Family first. I looked at the man who once stayed up all night fixing pipes to keep food on our table, now telling me to give up my home for a 4-day party in Hawaii. So the power of attorney is forged? I asked, point blank. Mom faltered half a second, then forced a smile. Not forged, just created, so everything would go smoothly. Tomorrow, Nancy the notary, Mom's friend from Chase, brings the real quitclaim deed. You sign once, everything becomes legal. If not, well, we'll just have to use the other one. She said it like she was debating wall paint colors. Dad lowered his voice. You don't sign, the brokerage sues us all for fraud. We lose everything. House, deposit, Emily's wedding. You want that on your conscience? I looked down at Mom's glue-stained fingers clutching my sleeve. I remembered 15-year-old me in this very room at 3 a.m., headphones on, learning to code on Khan Academy so I would never again hear my parents fight over credit card bills. I remembered hugging Mom the day I paid off both our student loans. And now they stood here asking me to hand over the fruit of all that. I gently pulled my arm free. The notary comes tomorrow, I said. I'll be there, but not to sign. Dad stiffened. What are you going to do? I looked him in the eye. First time in my life he looked small. I'm going to do what I do every day, patch a breach before the entire system collapses. I turned, rolled the suitcase out. Mom screams, Emily's crying, Ethan mumbling something about talking like adults. I didn't look back. On the sidewalk, the November wind bit hard. I opened the Uber app, booked a car to Manhattan. While waiting, I looked up at the Queen sky full of planes descending into JFK. I remembered Dad's old saying, family is everything, Ryan. Maybe he was right, but family doesn't get to hack your life. I checked into a boutique hotel on 38th Street, anonymous, keycard only, no chatty front desk. Room 1806, view of the Empire State Building decked out early in Christmas colors. I didn't turn on the main light, just the desk lamp and the glow of my MacBook Pro. It lit the room like a small fire. Protocol 0. First step when you discover a breach. Don't rush to contain. First, find out exactly what the attacker took. I started with the easiest, public records. Essex County Clerk site took 4 minutes to load the scanned listing agreement. My signature, Ryan M. Thompson, at the bottom of page 7. Pen strokes unnaturally perfect. I dragged the PDF into the handwriting analysis tool my firm uses to verify CEO signatures on billion-dollar contracts. Result in under 5 seconds. Match confidence, 14.7%. Pressure points inconsistent. Loop formation altered. Forgery probability 99.2%. Screenshot saved as forgery_confirmed v1.png. Next, lateral movement. If they were bold enough to sell my house, this wasn't just about the wedding. People only commit felonies when they're already drowning. I opened the dark pool background check service maybe 50 people in my industry have access to. $50,000 a year. Typed my parents' names. The screen filled like a financial horror movie. Second mortgage on the Queen's house, $312,000 at 9.8%, 4 months delinquent. 11 credit cards, total limits $98,000, current balances $96,871. Capital One judgment from last year, $7,200. Dad cashed out his entire 401k in March, $84,000, after taxes and early withdrawal penalty, $41,000, gone in 6 weeks. DraftKings plus FanDuel accounts linked to johnnyt1971@gmail.com, $38,400 deposited in 9 months. I sat still, staring at the gambling number. Dad used to ground me for playing poker with friends. Gambling is the road to hell. Now he'd driven the whole family there. I needed air. I FaceTimed Marcus, my senior threat intel guy, the only person I trust with this. Bro, where are you? Your face looks like you just got hit with ransomware. I told him everything, flat, no emotion. When I got to the forged signature, he whistled. When I got to the 401k and DraftKings, he went quiet. Rye, not giving moral advice, but prep yourself. This isn't parents' borrowed money anymore. This is organized fraud. I nodded, ended the call. One last thing I hadn't checked. I hesitated 10 seconds, then typed Emily's full name and the SSN I still know by heart from helping her with FAFSA. 3 credit cards popped up instantly. Chase Sapphire Preferred, opened 11 months ago, $8,412 owed. Amex Gold, 7 months ago, $6,989 owed. Capital One Venture, 4 months ago, $4,599 owed. Total, exactly $20,000. Billing address for all 3, a P.O. box in Flushing registered to Linda M. Thompson. I clicked transaction history on the Chase, filtered recent. 11/18, Whole Foods Flushing, $312.44. 11/17, Uber Eats Quadruple Cheese Pizza, $87.12. 11/15, MGM Grand Las Vegas Online Sportsbook, $1,200. 11/10, Canyon Ranch Spa, Queens, $650. 11/8, Tiffany & Co., 5th Ave, $3,200, probably Ethan's engagement ring. I sat in the dark, only the screen lighting my face. I remembered Emily last year on her birthday bragging she'd gotten a raise. I can take care of myself now, right? Turns out, taking care of herself meant giving Mom a clean credit file to destroy. I opened our family group chat. Emily's last message, a photo of the Hawaii mood board with the caption, "Dream coming true thanks to the best family ever. Hawaii." I saved everything into an encrypted folder named Family Breach 2024. 4 a.m. The city outside still glowed. I couldn't sleep, not jet lag anymore. I was inside the exact nightmare I get paid to stop for other people. Except this time, the attackers share my last name. And I'm the only one who knows how to lock the door. I walked into Harlan & Associates on the 62nd floor of 4 Times Square at 8:57 a.m. the next morning. No receptionist needed. I'd scheduled directly with Evelyn Harlan via encrypted email at 3 a.m. The frosted glass door slid open, and she was already waiting. 6 feet tall in Louboutins, charcoal suit tailored to kill, hair in a bun tight as a warning. "Thompson," she said. No handshake, just a nod and a pivot into the glass conference room. "Coffee or war? I have both." "War first," I said, setting my MacBook on the walnut table. For the next 45 minutes, I laid it all out. The recording with Sarah Jenkins, the 14.7% signature match, the list pendants I needed filed today, and the Family Breach 2024 folder full of proof my parents were drowning in debt and committing identity theft against my sister. Evelyn Harlan didn't take notes. She just stared with steel blue eyes. When I finished, she spoke. "This isn't family drama anymore, Ryan. This is a felony cocktail, real estate fraud, forgery, uttering forged instrument, identity theft, and if they mailed that fake POA, federal mail fraud. 20 years per count if the prosecutor feels like making an example." I nodded. I knew. She tapped a manicured nail on the table. 3 things happened today. 9:30 a.m. I file list pendants at Essex County Clerk. Once that hits the system, no title company on earth will insure the sale. Deal dies instantly. I send cease and desist with list pendants attached to Century 21 and Sarah Jenkins personally. They'll panic and cancel the listing in 2 hours. I draft the full criminal complaint,
state and federal contingencies. I keep the signed original in my safe. That's your kill switch.
I exhaled for the first time in 2 days. Cost? She smiled. First time I saw her teeth. $25K retainer today, and I'll make the entire state of New Jersey afraid to touch Ryan Thompson's house. I transferred it from my phone. Done. Before I left, she handed me a matte black card. Mike Russo, ex-NYPD major case, now private investigator for my special clients. You need a neutral third-party witness with a clean record and a face scary enough that no one lies in front of him. Call. Tell him I sent you. 3 p.m. that day, I met Mike Russo in a dim whiskey bar in Hell's Kitchen. Built like a refrigerator with a leather jacket and a face full of old scars. I slid the printed dossier across the table. I'm not hiring you to investigate, I said. I already have everything. I just need you to stand there, record, and, if necessary, testify. Mike flipped pages, whistled at the DraftKings totals. Fun family. $5,000 a day plus expenses, 1 day up front. Another transfer. That night alone in the hotel, I opened the complimentary bottle of Lagavulin 16, poured a glass, but didn't drink yet. I looked out at Manhattan's lights blinking like millions of running logs. I thought about Dad coming home with cut-up hands from pipework, still smiling, saying, as long as bills are paid. I thought about Mom staying up sewing Emily's prom dress on an ancient singer. They used to be good people. They just never learned how to stop when they were losing. Pity rose sharp as a blade. I felt it, a 0 day in my own heart. For 1 second, I pictured deleting all evidence, calling them, saying, never mind, I'll sign. But I'm cybersecurity. I know if you leave a vulnerability open just because it has sentimental value, it will be exploited again, worse next time. I took a sip. Peat smoke burned my throat. Pity is a vulnerability. I just patched it. Tomorrow, I go back to Queens. This time, I bring the law, an ex-cop, and an unexploded bomb. I arrived at 6:03 p.m., 3 minutes late on purpose so they'd know I'm no longer running on their schedule. Mike Russo stood behind me, silent, 4K body cam already rolling from his jacket lapel like an old badge. I carried a black leather briefcase heavy with weapons. Dad opened the door, face gray, unshaven. He saw Mike and swallowed hard. Who's this? Witness, I said, stepping inside. Everything tonight is recorded and stored off-site. Think of it as the family's final shareholders meeting. Living room unchanged, Hawaii boards glowing, meat burning in the kitchen, Emily on the sofa clutching her iPad, Ethan holding a champagne cup. Mom rushed out, wiping hands on an apron, trying to smile. You came. Sit. Mom made beef Wellington. I set the briefcase on the coffee table with a thud that made everyone flinch. Clicked the combination, flipped it open. Presentation begins. Exhibit A, red USB, plugged into their Apple TV. Sarah Jenkins' voice filled the room. Power of attorney completely valid. Movers Monday, such a beautiful sacrifice for your sister. Dad went the color of wet concrete. Exhibit B, full color signature analysis, giant red circle around 14.7%. Forged signature, 99.2% probability. Whoever practiced spent about 45 minutes with tracing paper. Mom started sobbing quietly. Exhibit C, A3 printout of their debt mountain, numbers bleeding red. Second mortgage delinquent, 11 maxed cards, 401k liquidated for DraftKings and FanDuel. Dad slumped like a man shot. Exhibit D, 3 thick folders placed gently in Emily's lap. For you, 3 credit cards opened in Emily Rose Thompson's name without her permission. Current balance, $20,012.41. Emily opened the top one, hands shaking. First page, Tiffany, $3,200 for the ring on Ethan's finger.
Next, $1,200 Thursday night football bet. Next, $650 spa day she never had. She looked up, eyes red. Mom, what is this? Mom fell to her knees, clutching Emily's legs. It was just bridge financing. We were going to pay it back when Dad hit it big. Emily shoved her away. First time I ever saw my sister truly angry. Hit it big? You opened cards in my name to gamble online? Dad broke into open sobbing. Ethan started backing toward the door. I gave him one look, enough for him to know he was on camera. He muttered, "I need air," and vanished out the back. Door slammed. No one stopped him. I stood straight, voice ice. Ultimatum, effective 24 hours. Dad calls Sarah Jenkins tonight, admits the POA is fake, cancels the listing unconditionally. You return every cent of the buyer's deposit, even if you have to sell the car, jewelry, or borrow from loan sharks. Both of you sign a notarized confession that you opened credit accounts in Emily's name without consent. I keep the original. Emily uses it to dispute and wipe the debt from her credit. If all three are not done by 6:03 p.m. tomorrow, the list pendants I filed this morning goes public. The full criminal complaint, real estate fraud, forgery, identity theft, gets filed simultaneously with the Essex County DA and the FBI Manhattan Field Office. With current evidence, each of you is looking at 7 to 10 years, no probation with a gambling record. Mom wailed, "You can't put your own parents in prison." I looked at her for a long time. You imprisoned Emily's future when you opened cards in her name. I'm just doing the justice system's job. Emily stood, eyes still wet but voice steady. I won't sign any forgiveness paper unless you sign the confession. I'd rather pay the $20,000 myself than let you keep using me. Dad looked at me, the eyes that once taught me to fish, now only desperate. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. I nodded to Mike. He stopped recording, pocketed the phone. 24 hours, I repeated. I walked out. Mom screaming, Emily smashing champagne glasses, Dad muttering, "We just wanted the best," followed me to the sidewalk. Queen's night wind cut deep. I breathed it in like I just escaped a burning building. 24 hours for them to choose. Save the last shred of dignity themselves, or let me do it for them with the law. I got back to the hotel at 2:14 a.m., phone blowing up. 27 missed calls from Mom, 11 texts from Emily, 3 voicemails from unknown, probably Ethan. I ignored them all. At 4:07 a.m., a new text from Emily popped on the lock screen. "Rye, I need to talk. Can't reach Mom and Dad anymore. I'm in my car outside your hotel. I have nowhere else to go." I sighed, threw on a jacket, went down to the lobby. Emily sat shivering in her white Mini Cooper, mascara tracks down her cheeks. I opened the passenger door. She launched into my arms, sobbing like a lost kid. For the next hour on the sofa of 1806, she told me everything. After Mike and I left, the house became a war zone. Mom hysterics on the floor, parents screaming, "You just killed your sister's dream." Emily fought back by ripping the Hawaii mood boards to shreds, paper orchids everywhere. Ethan ghosted out the back door the second I delivered the ultimatum, left Emily a voicemail. "Hey babe, I need time to think. Your family is complicated. We're not on the same financial wavelength anymore. Sorry." Translation, your family is broke and fraudulent. I'm out. Emily finished crying, wiped her face on my hoodie sleeve, then said something that stunned me. "I'm not signing any forgiveness." I raised an eyebrow. Meaning? "I'm paying the $20,000 myself. I already sold the dress. $18,000 Monique Lillier, got $11,800 cash. Ring goes tomorrow. Then I pick up extra night shifts at the Dead Rabbit. I'm not letting them buy my silence." I looked at my little sister and for the first time saw an adult sitting there. "You sure? Could take 5 to 7 years. She gave a broken laugh. tears still falling. Better 5 to 7 years rebuilding my own credit than a lifetime living their lie. I'd rather hurt once than hurt forever. Morning came. Emily called her college friend Chloe, now a financial advisor in Brooklyn, on speaker while I listened. Chloe didn't sugarcoat. Girl, you just escaped the most financially abusive family I've ever heard of. Textbook. Do not sign any confession release. You need it to dispute with the bureaus. I'll help you debt snowball to 0% interest in 18 months. Condition, you go no contact until you're ready. Emily nodded hard, even though Chloe couldn't see. That afternoon, Emily posted her first no-filter Instagram story, the wedding dress hanging in the bridal shop window. Dream dress for a dream that wasn't mine. For sale, $12,000 OBO. Proceeds go toward paying debt I never made. Thank you for the lessons, 2024. Within 3 hours, the dress had a deposit. For the ring, she texted Ethan, Venmo me your half, I'm selling it, cash this week. He replied with a thumbs up emoji and blocked her. Emily looked at me, sad smile. At least now I know. Next boyfriend, I check credit score before abs. I hugged her. First time in years I felt proud of the kid who used to drive me insane. Before she left the hotel, she whispered, Rai, do you forgive me for believing them? I looked out at the Manhattan sunrise turning gold. You don't need my forgiveness. You just need to forgive yourself, and you're already doing it. She nodded, wiped her face one last time, grabbed her bag, and walked out to sign the lease on the first apartment she would ever pay for herself. The door closed, leaving me with a strange feeling. I just lost an old family, but maybe found a real sister. Century 21 office, Livingston, New Jersey, Tuesday 9 a.m. The air was colder than a courtroom. Sarah Jenkins stood behind the reception desk, ghost pale, red lipstick smudged. Inside the glass conference room, my dad sat alone at the long table, shirt wrinkled, eyes bloodshot from no sleep. No mom, she texted migraine. The buyers, the Millers, were already there. Brian Miller, hoodie with Google logo, maybe 29, holding his 7 months pregnant wife Jess's hand so tight her knuckles were white. On the table in front of them, paint swatches and nursery brochures in pastel. Sarah took a shaky breath and spoke. Mr. and Mrs. Miller, we have to inform you that the listing for 87 Watchung Avenue is being withdrawn immediately due to irregularities in the seller's authorization. There was never a valid power of attorney. The contract is void. Jess let out a sound that wasn't a scream, more like the air punched out of her lungs. She clutched her belly, shaking her head. But we gave notice on our Jersey City apartment. Lease ends Monday. Movers booked. We have nowhere to go. Brian shot to his feet. We spent $2,400 on inspection, $850 appraisal, $1,200 earnest money. Who's paying for that? Dad stared at the table, muttering, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, like a broken record. Sarah almost screamed at him. Mr. Thompson, you exposed my brokerage to massive liability. I should call the police right now. I had been standing silently by the door the whole time. I stepped in, set my briefcase down. I will cover it, I said calmly. Every head snapped toward me like I was a ghost. I took out an old-school checkbook, wrote fast. Paid to the order of Brian and Jess Miller, $6,000. Memo, full reimbursement plus temporary housing. Tore it out, handed it to Jess. She took it with shaking fingers, fresh tears, this time grateful. This covers everything you lost plus 1 month extended stay while you find a new place. I'm deeply sorry my family put you through this. Jess squeezed my hand, whispering thank you over and over. Brian nodded, still angry, but grateful. I turned to Dad. Add $6,000 to your tab. You now owe me legal fees plus this. We'll itemize later. Sarah snarled at Dad. "Get out of my office, Mr. Thompson, and never contact this firm again." Dad stood, wobbling like an 80-year-old, not 62. He walked out without looking at anyone. In the parking lot, the November sky was concrete gray. I thought it might rain. It didn't, just cold. Dad leaned against his old Camry, mumbling, "You didn't have to pay them. I would have figured it out." "Someone had to take responsibility," I cut him off. "You checked out of that job a long time ago." Right then, a white Mini Cooper screeched into the lot. Emily jumped out, hair messy, eyes still puffy, chin high, hoodie and ripped jeans, zero trace of the Hawaii bride. She marched straight to Dad. "I came to say this once," she declared, voice hard, no yelling. "Ethan dumped me last night. By text. Quote, 'We're not financially compatible anymore.' End quote." Dad opened his mouth. Nothing. Emily kept going. "I sold the dress for $11,800. Ring money tomorrow. Cash. From now on, I pay the $20K you racked up in my name myself. I'm not signing any confession release because I need it to dispute with the bureaus, but I'm also not filing charges. I just want to say, we're done." Dad broke into the kind of sobbing that comes from a man who just realized he has nothing left. Emily turned to me, eyes shining but dry. "I'm going to pack, moving out tonight. Thank you for not letting me keep living that lie." She hugged me hard, got back in her car, and peeled out, leaving Dad alone in the cold parking lot. I looked at him one last time as a son. "Sell the house, Dad. Sell the car. Return the miller's deposit. Pay me back every cent. Miss one payment and the deal is off. Understood?" He nodded, speechless. I got in my car, left the former king of his little castle standing in the cold with no kingdom, no subjects, and zero self-respect. On the drive back to Manhattan, Emily texted, "Studio in Bushwick signed. $1,850 a month, I pay. Thank you for saving me, even if it meant blowing up our family to do it." I replied with one word, "Welcome to adulthood, kid." 3 months passed like a clean OS upgrade. Painful install, then everything runs smoother. My Montclair house is now a real fortress. I replaced every lock with level 10 biometric, fingerprint plus vein pattern plus one-time PIN. 8K 360 cameras, facial recognition AI, new NAS in a fireproof vault, 72-hour UPS. The installer joked, "You work for the CIA or something?" I just smiled. No, my family's just special. The lawn is green again, maples turning red, no real estate sign anywhere. Only a small handmade one on the porch. No trespassing, violators will be logged. Every Sunday 10 a.m. sharp, Emily shows up with cold brew from Devotion and hot bagels. She knocks with her fist, her fingerprint isn't in the system yet. Earn it first. We sit at the kitchen island for coffee and compound interest. This week, Roth versus traditional IRA. Last week, 6-month emergency funds. Week before, how to use YNAB so your parents can't steal from you anymore. Emily is almost unrecognizable. Ponytail, no makeup, oversized NYU hoodie. Full-time content strategist days, bartends the dead rabbit 3 nights. Debt down to $9,400, pays on time every month. Credit score rocketed from 518 to 687. She brags about it like it's a second college degree. Next month, I have enough saved for a used car, she says, eyes sparkling. Cash, no loan. I nod, slide her coffee over. Good. After that, we start $200 a month into VTI. We never mention Hawaii again. As for our parents, the Queen's house sold well below market because it had to be fast, and the List Pendants cloud. I removed it after they signed everything required. After paying the bank, the miller's deposit, my legal fees, and the $6K reimbursement, they were basically wiped out. They now live in a 1-bedroom in Soundview, Bronx. 3rd floor walk-up, hallway smells like weed. Dad works full-time at Home Depot, orange vest, paint desk. Mom is a cashier at the Duane Reade on the corner. First job after 32 years as a housewife. I know because I once saw her behind the counter, hair gray and neatly tied, scanning coupons for an old lady. They send me $600 every month like clockwork. Auto transfer the fifth, memo line just, payment, J.L. Thompson. I don't reply, don't thank them. I just accept and let it sit, a reminder. Some days Mom texts from a new number. Baby, I'm so sorry, I miss you. I read, then block. But I don't let them starve. Once a month, I mail an anonymous $300 Whole Foods gift card for groceries only. Tough love, American style. I won't forgive, but I won't let them get desperate enough to do something stupid again. Emily knows, doesn't comment, just says, "You're doing it right, saving them from themselves without letting them drag you back down." Sometimes I drive through Soundview, park a block away, watch Dad on the tiny balcony smoking, shoulders more stooped than ever. I never honk, never get out. I just look for a minute, then drive home. Back in Montclair, I open the garage, turn on the lights, look at the warm house. I pour a whiskey, sit on the porch. Wind is cold, but it doesn't bite anymore. I won. Kept the house, kept the equity, kept my freedom. I saved Emily from a marriage built on lies and a $20K hole. She now lives in a 400-square-foot Bushwick studio she pays for herself and sleeps without money anxiety for the first time. My parents are alive, housed, employed, and making steady payments. But victory without anyone to high-five tastes bitter. I lost a family, not to death, to my own hand. No more Sunday did you eat calls, no more Mom made beef stew, come over. Just silent transfers and anonymous gift cards. I became a living firewall, safe but locked out from the people who used to be home. Sometimes at night I hear their laughter from long ago, when Dad still thought DraftKings was a stadium, when Mom sang Total Eclipse of the Heart off-key in the kitchen. I remember Dad saying by the fishing pond, "Family is the last life raft when the world sinks." I used to believe it. Now the raft is riddled with holes, and I chose to cut the rope and swim alone. I chose to swim. In America, they call it going no contact. On Reddit, there are millions of us, r-raised by narcissists, r-just no family. We celebrate Thanksgiving solo, Christmas with friends, and learn it's okay to not feel guilty. I'm now an anonymous member. A lot of people message me I'm too harsh. They're still your parents. They made mistakes, but they love you. Blood is thicker than water. I get it. I used to think that too. Then I remember Emily sobbing in her car, Mom smiling about facilitating family resources, Dad looking at me like a walking ATM. And I realize love that requires your own destruction isn't love. It's toxic dependency wrapped in a family bow. I don't hate them. Hate would be easier. Hate still takes energy. I've reached indifference, clean, cold, efficient, like deleting a malicious IP from the whitelist forever. Click, done, no drama. Yesterday, a late birthday card from Mom arrived, no return address. Shaky handwriting inside. Happy 30th birthday, son. We're proud of you, even if you don't believe it anymore. I looked at it a long time, then put it in the drawer with old bills. Didn't tear it, didn't burn it, just filed it. Maybe one day I'll open it again. Not today. Emily is different. She's growing faster than I can keep up. Last week she got another raise. Next month she'll pay off the last of the debt. She says she's taking me to Peter Luger to celebrate the day I went bankrupt and was reborn. I told her I'd pay. She shook her head. No, my treat this time. I want to know what proud feels like. I look out on Watchung Avenue. Quiet Sunday traffic, kids on bikes, dogs barking in the spring breeze. Life goes on. only I'm different. I kept the house. But I nuked my own family to do it. So, am I the villain of this story, or just the only one sober enough to hit the kill switch before we all sank? I don't have a perfect answer. I just know that today I'm sitting here drinking bitter coffee, breathing free air, and for the first time in my life, not worrying someone will steal my house keys while I'm gone. If you think I did the right thing, drop a like, comment NTA. If you think I'm heartless, comment that too. I read everything. And if you're in the same spot right now, trying to decide whether to cut the rope or not, listen. Sometimes the only way to save someone is to let them hit bottom, and the only way to save yourself is to not fall with them. Thanks for listening to the whole story. If you want more Justice Served Cold episodes, subscribe, hit the bell.
Me? I'll keep sitting here on my porch in Montclair, drinking bitter coffee, guarding the fortress I had to trade my old world to keep. Because in the end, the only thing that truly belongs to you is what you're willing to protect, no matter the price. Peace out from Montclair. Ryan Thompson, signing off.